नमस्कार दोस्तों, वेलकम टू बीइंग मैजिकल।
Have you ever pondered on the mechanisms allowing dictators to cling to power, even in the face of considerable opposition? It's an intricate network of crafty strategies, ranging from the brutal suppression of opposition and stringent control over media, to the manipulation of electoral processes and the deployment of propaganda to sustain support. Delve into the workings of North Korea, for instance. The state-controlled media ceaselessly exalts the country's leaders, illustrating them as gallant defenders, safeguarding the nation from external aggression. Here, we witness the finesse of propaganda, where accomplishments are blown out of proportion and any unfavorable facets of their rule are conveniently disregarded. Now, let's venture into the modern world tactics of propaganda and misinformation. Take the case of the 2016 presidential election in the United States, where the spread of fake news on social media was alleged to have influenced voters. Or the Brexit campaign in the UK, where misleading facts were used to sway public sentiment. This practice of spreading misinformation mirrors the tactics employed by dictators in the past, demonstrating how these techniques continue to be relevant in today's world. Transitioning back into history, consider Saddam Hussein's Iraq. His regime propagated misinformation about weapons of mass destruction to validate military actions and uphold power. Drawing parallels with the present, we see instances where governments and politicians use similar tactics to justify controversial policies or discredit political rivals. The use of misinformation and disinformation is a classic trick in the playbook, and as we can see, continues to be a prevalent tactic in the world today. To illustrate these points vividly, think of a labyrinth, a metaphor for the complex network of strategies employed by dictators. Picture a magnifying glass hovering over a newspaper headline, representing the constant scrutiny and over media. Visualize a scale, imbalanced, with a pile of fake news articles outweighing a single piece of credible news. And imagine a puppet master controlling marionettes, symbolizing the manipulation of electoral processes and public opinion by those in power. These compelling visuals will help you grasp the gravity and magnitude of these manipulative tactics. Media control is another common strategy. In Russia, under Vladimir Putin's rule, independent media outlets have faced censorship, harassment, and closure, while state-controlled media outlets avoid criticism of his government and portray Putin in a positive light. Astroturfing is a more subtle tactic. In Egypt under Hosni Mubarak, the regime organized pro-government rallies and demonstrations, often using state resources and coercion to compel attendance, creating the illusion of widespread support. Gerrymandering, although more commonly associated with democracies, is another tool in the dictator's arsenal. In Zimbabwe, under Robert Mugabe's rule, the government redrawn electoral boundaries to favor Mugabe's party, ZANU-PF, and weaken opposition strongholds. Voter suppression is another tactic. In Belarus, during the rule of Alexander Lukashenko, opposition candidates faced harassment, arrests, and even physical attacks, while restrictive voting laws made it difficult for opposition parties to participate in elections. Even in the United States, a beacon of democracy, there was evidence of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election through hacking, social media manipulation, and dissemination of disinformation. This was aimed at undermining confidence in the democratic process and influencing the outcome in favor of their preferred candidate. These tactics, although diverse, all serve the same end: to consolidate power and silence opposition. But knowledge is power. By understanding these tactics, we can recognize them when they appear and challenge the narratives that dictators create. We can educate ourselves and others about the realities of dictatorships and work towards a world where power truly belongs to the people. The fight against dictatorship begins with you, with your willingness to question, to learn, and to speak out. So, start educating yourself today. The future of democracy depends on it.